I'm going to go ahead and turn my face off. And we'll get started. Oh, I can already tell that my camera is crooked. There we go. All right, we're doing these two Christmas cards using some layering layering stencils and some distress ink and some ink smushing. So that's what I'm working on today. This was another one that I did, but I just did it on some regular cardstock that I have, which turned out really pretty too. But it seemed kind of boring for a live, so I thought, let me do an ink smush. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to start out with the backgrounds, and I would want there to be a little white border around here, so I'm going to trim this down first. I did it before where I did all of the stamping and the ink smushing and then I trimmed, but you can see that I didn't trim evenly. So I'm going to make it the size I want it first and then put everything in the middle of that. So I'm going to do watercolor paper. I'll do 2 of them. This is just Canson cold press watercolor paper. You've been looking for layering stencils, Michelle? They're everywhere now. It's like all of a sudden they just got crazy popular. So I'm going to trim this down to 4. So since our card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, I want a little 1/4 inch border all the way around. Well, I think that ends up being an 1/8 inch actually, not a 1/4 inch. No, that's a 1/4 inch, so I guess I'd have to take a 1/2 inch off. Oops. So let's do 3 3/4. No, I'm going to leave it like this. I'm just going to take a 1/4 inch off both. So 4 and then 5 1/4. And then if you want to trim it down a little bit more afterwards, I will. Better to be safe than sorry. I can always trim more off, but I can't add it back on. So 4. 5 1/4. I have to keep hitting C translation. My cards are beautiful. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to start with my, hopefully you can see inside of here. I don't know, I'm going to have to move some stuff around. You can see in there okay, right? So I just have one of my, I'm going to put a clean one in actually. One of my little deli sheets in here. And the reason I do this, some people put paper towel in, which works equally as well. But since I do, I goof around with mixed media journaling, learning how to do that. I save everything that I do that has color on it. So when I'm doing these, I save these beautiful papers. Look at that. It's got all that shiny yummy on there. Plus they're like translucent, almost like rice paper. So I'm going to save these, and look how pretty that is. I don't know, stick it down in a journal or something. So that's why I'm using these deli sheets instead of a paper towel. And I could just put it in my box, but then my box gets yucky and wet and damp. And I made this box out of a shipment that I got. It seemed like the perfect size, so I just cut the sides down. Turned it into one of those splat boxes that you can buy. Instead of using the pizza box like I was doing before. Because the pizza box worked when the back was up, but the sides were really shallow, and so stuff was still flying everywhere. So this seems to work pretty good. All right, back to business. So the first one I'm going to do is purple and blue. So I'm using just Distress Spray Stain in Tumbled Glass, and then I'm using a Lindy's Starburst Spray in Teapot Purple. Yes, making my own rice paper. So much fun. I don't know if I'll use it, but I have a stack of it. So we'll see. Okay, I'm going to I think I'm going to wet the cardstock this time just a little bit to help the ink move around. And I want most of my card to be purple. So I'm going to spray just a tiny bit of, I guess I'm not really ink smushy now that I think about it. I'm just spraying this stuff down. That's disappointing, huh? Next week's I'm doing ink smushing. Next week's live. I've already got that one picked out. I'll give you a sneak peek at the end. But I want most of this to be purple, so I'm going to get a little bit closer. You see what's going on there? So I'm going to spray that a little bit more just to help the blue move. And this, my friends, is honestly just trial and error. There is no rule or instruction I can give you to make this work. Either it does or it doesn't. So I'm going to let this dry this a little bit. Now the Lindy Starburst spray has mica flecks in it. And so when this is dry, it's going to be all sparkly and beautiful. Now we have to remember that for this card we're going to be inking over the top of it through those stencils. So we don't want it to be too dark. Just kind of want a sparkly, pretty background. And when I started doing these cards, I honestly just picked some spray inks that I thought were pretty. And then I picked out the inks to do the stenciling with to go with it. All right, I'm going to move that out of the way a second. Paper towel. Stab that up. I don't want it to be too watery looking. I don't know if you can see. Can you see the sparkles in there? It's still damp over here. I don't know. I don't think the light is bright enough in here for you to see that. Maybe if I get closer a little bit at the top there. Anyway, in real life, it's very pretty. So I'm going to, ooh, that almost looks like a snowflake down there, doesn't it? I think I'm going to put a little bit more of the purple in there because I want more sparkle. I think I'm going to do both, actually. Like I said, trial and error. We'll look at some comments here a second. Hello from Vancouver. Hello, Vancouver. Vancouver Eileen. How is it in Vancouver? How is it in France, for that matter? How is it where you are? Just tell me where you are and tell me what the weather's like or what's going on around you. It's a beautiful day here in Michigan, US. It is 73 degrees and mostly sunny. There's rain coming though. And fall is on the horizon here, autumn. Okay, I think I like that a little bit better. Let me dry this a little bit more. Trying to multitask here. London, Ontario, overcast but warm. That's nice. Going in the pool. Wow, that's nice. Cleveland, cloudy and cool. What's your idea of cool, Edie? Cool to me is 73. I like it warm. Okay, let me get these big blobs out of here. That's a little bit better. I think that's a little bit more of an even color. And the inks that I picked are dark enough to go over that, so we're all good with this, I think. And this is going to be warpy, but that's okay. Let's stick it down real good. All right, I think I'm going to put some splatters on here. So let me get a splatter brush and a little mat. And I'm going to use this purple one. Slightly overcast and 84 in Wichita. You having a lack and rain, or yeah, lack and rain down there in Kansas? It's been a really super dry summer here in Michigan too. So I'm just putting some of that paint or that ink down on my mat, and then I'm just going to tap it for some little flecks. You can barely even see that. I actually think I'm going to do some of this darker Distress Oxide, which is Villainous Potion. I want a couple of darker splats in there. Yeah, it's better. Now we got a little bit more. And you'll see in a minute that that will actually show through the bauble, which I think is cool. All right, so let's do the next one. So I don't know about you guys. When you make cards, do you just like come up with an idea and then you just make one card, or do you make multiples? Because I always end up making multiples. Let me get some water. A second. I just want to make sure that my brush is clean when I get into the next colors. I always end up making multiples because I have to try different things out. In my head, I don't know what something is going to look like. I just can't envision it really. I mean, I kind of get an idea, but I have to try it out first to make sure it's going to work, especially if I'm going to do a video or come on here and show you guys what to do. I don't want to get on here or try in the middle of a video and go, oh, that didn't work. So I always end up trying different things, and so then I end up with oodles of extra backgrounds, and then I end up with 2 or 3 cards at a time every single time. So what do you guys do? Do you do more than one? So these two, I just indulged, been indulging for the last couple months on craft supplies. I just indulged in the mica stains. I got a couple of older sets, and then I got the new ones. These are the Christmas ones. So it's this Flickering Candle and Frosty Mint. And if you like sparkle, oh my gosh, these are so pretty. Ah, so pretty. So I'm not going to get this wet this time. I'm just going to spray these on here and see what happens. And also, before I forget, I need to clean these. So besides watching my videos, if you guys want ideas on how to use products specifically, check out joggles.com. Look at their, this is not a paid for ad at all, trust me. It's just that Barb at Joggles, she's just brilliant when she teaches you how to use the products. And when I very first started doing cards and mixed media stuff, I watched her almost every single day because she just shows you how to use stuff. So that's a really good resource to go to. If you have some product that you thought you needed, and then bought it and then you went, oh, geez, I don't know what to do with it, she will show you how to use it. So anyway, to that point, last time I watched one of her videos, she talked about how to clean the little spouts of your, and I didn't do that one, to make sure they don't get clogged, which I thought was a brilliant idea. I gotta look at my card to see what I did with that. Oh. Okay. So I usually don't clean these little nibs by spraying that water in there until I'm done using them. So now I just got these bright splots on here. So now I'm going to move this around with water. I can see what it's doing while I'm adding the water. Oh, that is so pretty. Oh my gosh, if you could see that in real life. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, it's delicious. Makes me want to eat it. I know it sounds weird, but that's how I feel about color. All right, I don't think I'm doing anything else to that, so I'm gonna get this out of the way. I don't want that big blob at the bottom because I have to remember that these are cut to size. Now, if this was oversized still, I wouldn't care about these edges because I'd just trim it down, but being that I cut them to size, I have to be a little bit more careful. Florida, and it is hot. I have friends that just bought a winter home down there, and they have been there for the last couple weeks working on it. And so I hear you. Michelle, were you anywhere near that last hurricane that came through there? They're in the, my friends are in the Fort Myers area, and they just got a bunch of rain, but didn't really, nothing serious. Some thunderstorms, no tornadoes or anything. Now, I am going to say, now that I'm looking at this compared to the demo, I remember how I did the demo card. It wasn't like this. So this has got a bunch of white space in it. Do you see that? And this is pretty solid. The reason is because I did this card by smushing this in the background onto, I was swatching. Here's my ADD showing. I was swatching the colors, and so I had it on here. And I think I just got that wet, and then I just laid this down inside of it. So now I'm wondering if I should do that. See if we can recreate it. I think I'm gonna. This is what I would do if you weren't watching. That's the thing with these inks and ink smushing and spraying and all that stuff. It's impossible to recreate something exactly. So I think this is just an ink smushing situation. So I'm going to spray some of this down in here. Oops, my little tab came off. You're on the Space Coast. Oh, okay. That's good you didn't. Nothing bad happened. Space Coast. I've never heard of it referred to that. That's funny. I've never been there. I've always wanted to. My husband has, but I have not. Okay, I'm just going to smush this and see what happens. Yep, that's what happened. That's what I did. Ah, did that crease right there. I don't know. What do you think? I kind of like this one better. I like the white space. So maybe we'll just stick with that one. I'll stick this over here. And then I don't have to splatter that with anything either because it's already got dots on it. Bonus! The left. Oh, you like this one? Maybe I will use the stencil to ink over both of them to start, and we'll see which one looks better. He likes the white spaces too. Okay. I already know that I'm going to like this one just because I am more of a movement kind of a person. Oh, that's really pretty. It's too much yellow because I need more of this green or this blue color. Yeah, we'll just go with this and we'll see what happens. They always end up turning out okay. So I'm going to trim this down. If I stress out about it too much, then I end up with 17 different things, and I should have just stuck with the first one, and I overthink everything. Oh, it's still wet. Ink everywhere. All right. 4. I'm going to try to keep the majority of this blue here because that's blue and green are the ink colors that I picked out. Maybe we'll do it like that. Okay, we'll save this out of the way. Okay. Get out of the way so we don't compare too much. You're near I Dream of Jeannie. I remember that show. Just dated myself. Of course, you dated yourself too, didn't you, Michelle? I'm going to quick stick some glue on this so this little thing doesn't get lost. Housekeeping. I'm using 3-in-1 glue for this. It works better than regular glue, but it's still plastic. Just is not a friend of glue. I've tried hot glue. I've tried white glue. Nothing seems to want to stick to the plastic. Okay. Don't need that. Gonna just use this little mat. Yes, you did. The yellow will be a great background for the Christmas ball with the yellow on the bottom. Like I have right here. Is that what you mean, Linda? So we have the same ideas. So I'm gonna do the purple one first. And this is a stencil. It's from Spellbinders. It's called Snowflake Ornaments. Layered stencils, and this has got a setup so that you can do the Christmas ball, which is what we're doing here, and it's got 2 different kinds of bows and then 2 different kinds of tops, but by looking at these I think they're the same, they're just in a different place. But then you can also use this and this and turn it into a bell. I've seen people do that. A jingle bell, and I'm sure that these things all work that way somehow, but I'm not sure. I just went, ooh, look at that snowflake Christmas ball. I like that. So I'm going to tape this down so she don't move. Probably 2. I actually should do this in 4 corners, being that it's a little bit warped. Hopefully it'll stick. That's the other beauty of making things oversized, is you can put tape on the edges and it won't affect your design. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to ink is the ball part of this. Now we have to remember that the bow is going to be up here. The first time I tried, and I'm telling you this because of my own experience. The very first time I did it, I centered the ball in the card, and of course the bow was way up here and it looks silly. I could have put the sentiment down there, but I was bummed out. So our sentiment is going to go straight across the ball. So I'm going to try to get this with the idea of where that bow is going to be to try to center it as best I can. I'm not going to worry too much because it is homemade. I am going to tape the stencil down. There's also little registration dots on these stencils. They tend to be a messy ink blender, so I'm going to cover those holes up so I don't have to worry about getting ink where it doesn't belong. Okay, and I'm going to start with the lighter of the 2 purples, which is Wilted Violet. And then I'm going to ink blend. That's it. Just going to put the ink down. And I'm using oxides because they're a little bit more opaque than the regular distress inks. So it's okay if some of that shows through, which in this case it actually doesn't, but I don't want it to be really translucent. So I'm gonna peel that off. I should have a paper towel. Probably used way too much tape, but we're gonna reuse it. It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Wipe this off. The black dryer, just a simple hair dryer. Nope, this is the little Ranger Heat It craft tool. You can either get it from Ranger or Simon Says Stamp or scrapbook.com, or you might even be able to find it on Amazon. I'm not sure if you can find this particular one. I like this one because it doesn't blow really hard like a hair dryer would, and it's also quiet. And you can double that one as a embossing heat tool, but it's got a bigger face, and because it doesn't blow such intense heat, it takes a little bit longer to melt the embossing powder, but you can use it for both. Okay, now let's see. This is right here is the front of the bow. I'll show you on here. So this is right there, is that front part of the bow. And then these little doodads, the little upturned pieces. So I'm going to do those in the same light color. And I don't know if you can see because it's so far away. I really do need to invest in a camera instead of using my phone so that you can see. I can zoom in and out so you can see closer. So I have the edges of this right here, right along the edge of the ball. Take this in place. Oh, wait a minute. Ah, I'm looking at this and I'm looking at my card going, wait, what is that? That's not correct. This is the top. This is the inside of the bow. So we're gonna, I guess I need to do that first. Maybe that's why it was my my brain was telling me I need to do this part first. So I do need to do the dark one first. There's probably little numbers on here, but I'm too lazy to take the time to look for them. So I'm sure there's little embossed numbers on here to tell you which one to go first. Trying to cover those dots. Okay. Let's hold this down. Okay, I'm going to use my little brush this time, and I'm using the darker color. So now actually what we're doing is this part right here. That's that part, and this, the darker one. It doesn't really matter as long as they're two different colors. You can use whatever color you want. You can make this an entirely different color. You can make it gold or something if you wanted. But that's me. I tend to overthink things. Tucson, Arizona. Hello, Tucson. Linda. I'm heading back to Arizona the first week of November. I have to get there and set up an entirely new craft space. Oh boy. Let's see. Let's peel this off. What else can I do in this dark color? Well, I'm going to do the little, this part. But I'm going to wait until I get the other part done first. So now we're going to do this part. Let's see. This will sit right underneath there. And then we want to line up and make sure that the bottom of these little whoopie doopies are at the bottom of there, which they are. And this is going to be the lighter color, so let me clean this off a little bit. I don't know, what do you guys, if you use, oh, we're in Arizona? We're in Wickenburg. It's just like an hour northwest of Phoenix. Little cowboy town up there. If you guys use brushes, blending brushes, this is, if you get one of those microfiber towels that were all the rage in the late 90s, but people still have, they work great for getting your excess ink off without having to get them wet or clean them in between. And then you just throw that in the washing machine and all that comes out. So this is the lighter color purple. And then I think I'm also going to do the dot. In the lighter color, which is right here. Just keep referring to my sample and make sure I'm doing it the same way. Pooh. It was offset weird there. That's okay. It's all right. Whoever gets this Christmas card is not going to notice that, right? Right. Maybe I'll do the darker color there. We'll move it over a tiny bit. Fill it in. Hello. All I see is NP Art. What is your name? What is your first name? What can I call you? Let's do dark. Well, I like it dark better anyway. It didn't fill in that crack, but that's okay. I do not care. So we're going to do our little... We're doing all of this before we put our sparkle stuff on, because we're going to use the stencil to put on... let's see. Actually, that needs to go down here. We're going to put on... I'm going to use some glaze for the snowflake part. See how that looks. Good enough. Good enough. I'm happy with it. Ish. Happy-ish. All right, let me clean this off real quick. I'll set this. You know what? I'm going to leave this on here and I'm going to do the stenciling part so it can be off drying when we're doing the green one. So hold on. I'm going to rinse this off a minute. Still here, just rinsing. Okay, so let me get, so I'm using this Ranger texture paste. It's metallic white. It's a really pretty kind of a shiny white. And then I'm also using some opal glitter medium, but I bought this just because I used so much of it. I was, this is very similar to like the Gina K glitter stuff. It's a little bit thinner than that, so it's not, doesn't have the same qualities, but it works for me. It's got sparkles in it. So I'm going to use both of those to do, oh, let's put the stencil on first. Get ahead of yourself there, Michelle. I'll line this up as best I can. As close as I'm going to get, I think. Do it down here. Covering up holes. I don't want to take a chance on getting anything over there. stencils. Okay. Now what I'm doing, now you could obviously do whatever you want. I tried this with just the silver, the metallic white, and I tried it with just the opal glitter medium. And what happens is once this dries, it actually absorbs some of that ink because it's still damp. And so you can see with both of these, so this has got, I don't know if you can tell, but this has got some of the opal medium mixed in with it. And then that's the silver. It actually sucked up some of that purple ink, and it did the same thing here. Here I did just plain medium, just the plain glitter along the edges, and then the white in the middle. But again, it sucked that up. So if you wanted this to be, I'm not even sure if you could do it, and I guess suppose if you did it dry, completely dry, it might not show through, but I still think it's going to absorb So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to mix these two together because I want it to be sparkly. Now this gel medium is mint. I think it's created for paint, so you could put it in acrylic paint if you wanted to. I mean, that's basically all this stuff is anyway. It's just really thick paint. I'm not going to blend it super crazy because if some of it is pure white and some of it is pure sparkle, that's fine too. Just have to be careful not to get it on the rest of my card. I absolutely adore smushing stuff through stencils. I don't know why. I do it every chance I get. I just think it is so neat. It just like brings a card to the next level of fancy. Plus that's part of being a crafter, right? Is get to play with all your stuff. It's probably good to be real careful so it doesn't shift while I'm taking the tape off. Ask me how I know. That's not even holding it down, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay. Ta-da! I love that reveal. Look at that, it's so pretty. So you don't even notice that crack, that little open space up there. Up here, till I point it out, of course, but isn't that pretty? Now that's really lovely like that, but as it dries, it will start to absorb some of that purple. So I'm going to set this one aside and we will work on the green one real quick. Take this tape off of here before I forget. Clean up a little bit. Oh, I should have left that on there. What are you thinking, girlfriend? What are you thinking? So used to the habit of cleaning stuff up in between. Okay, let's see if we can be Speedy Gonzalez and get the next one all inked up before that dries on my palette and on my stencil. What do you think? Think I can do it? I can do it if I don't yap the whole time. So let's try. Get this off of here. It's a terrible clean job. I really should have a rag instead of using paper towel every time. Put that off. Okay. Perfect quilting saying there are no card making police, make it yours. Oh, that's genius. I love that. That's right. There are no police. There's nobody here today at my house. I can do what I want. I can do what I want anyway, but. So I am going to yap while I'm making this one because I was thinking about something this morning while I was preparing for this live, and I want to get your opinion. I'm asking you that are watching live right now, and also anybody that Hang on, I'm thinking, do I want that yellow on the bottom? I think I do. Anybody that might be watching this rerun or replay on YouTube. Hang on. So I really, really enjoy doing these lives. But I wish, the only thing that I don't like is that we can't converse as a group. You guys like ask your questions, and I have to look over there, and hopefully I don't. Oh, NPR says her name is Nata. Is that how you say that? Plus, see me and my distraction problem. I jump all over the place. Anyway, I would love it if we could somehow get together on a little bit more personal level where we can, you know, chit chat and. Where's my other stencil? You know, you guys can talk amongst yourselves. And maybe we could even craft together. So if I said, okay, we're going to have a crafting meetup, in 10 days or whatever, and schedule it, and then tell you the supply list or the things that I'm using to make the card, and then you guys collect whatever you have in advance, and we all get together and sort of like on a Zoom meeting, not a Zoom meeting, but sort of like that, where we can all see what each other's making and have, a discussion, like if we were in a classroom setting, but online. I've been looking at some things, so if that sounds like something that you would be interested in, can you say in the comments, either here or on YouTube, something like yes to the meetup? And then I will gauge the responses and see if it's worth me investigating. It would be like, I would say like no more than, oh my gosh, how many people we got watching now? 26? I was going to say I don't think it would be more than like 30 people. And then we could each see each other, be in our craft rooms, making stuff together. Doesn't that sound like fun? Yes, it would be virtual for sure. 100% virtual, because I would want to be able to, anybody that, even my overseas friends that would like to participate, I would love everybody to be able to do that. We would do it like maybe once a month to start. And it would be free, of course. Love a meetup. Yes, to meetup. Oh, that's so awesome. I will do some more research. I'm thinking that it might be something, being that I don't want to have to spend a bunch of money to host a, like an online platform because like for Zoom, it's like really expensive if you want more than 5 people. Excuse me. So I don't want to have to foot that cost, obviously. So I think Google has a thing called Google Meetup. And basically, I just would invite you. I'd set up a meetup and I would invite you. And I don't remember how many people. It might be 100 people. So that would accommodate us, I think. We'll do some more research and keep you posted. So I'm using peacock feathers, which is the lighter of the blue, to do my circle. Awesome. Oh, there's my little dog Levi. Hey, buddy. He heard something outside. It's nothing. He thinks it's something. Levi, come here, please. Pretty good. I was going to try to get him in here, and I would introduce him to you guys. But he doesn't want to come in. He thinks he's protecting me. My husband's gone, so he thinks he's in charge now. Okay, what did we do next? We did the bigger bow part, right? Oh, shoot. Do you see what's going to happen here? Also, the sun is shining. See if I can stop that from happening. These days start to get... That's not even the right one. These days start to change here, and the light changes. There it is. Can you open that back up? There we go. Okay. All right, I gotta put this on something else because it's gonna get in my way. You know, I was gonna bring my glass mat over here and use that. I thought, nah, I can do it all on this little tiny thing. Mistake. He is saving my life right now from the sound of some equipment on a road about 1.5 miles away. So yes, I feel so much safer. It doesn't feel so safe when he does that at 2 o'clock in the morning though, when he hears a deer walk by or something. Not so safe. I'm gonna see if I can do this without taping off all the dots because I'm using the tiny brush. Using Lucky Clover for the dark color. Nope. Ooh, that is a juicy pad right there. Now these little tiny brushes I got off Amazon for like, I want to say they were like $8 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 of them. Couldn't believe it. I mean, I'm not a huge, you know, support the giant conglomerate person, but gotta do what you gotta do. Things are expensive nowadays. But I would first say support your local craft shop if you have one. All right. Let's do this part, which is gonna be the lighter color. Can you guys hear that playing? I want to know how good my microphone is. I was just debating on whether I should use a big brush here or not. But I don't have a little one set up for this color, so I'm just going to have to use it. Oh, yes, I do. It's right there. Oh, my gosh, Michelle. I was going to say, that's kind of bizarre. I didn't want to set a little one up for this. I blame menopause. I do. I blame it. The absent-mindedness. Anybody else struggle with that? Yeah, you can hear it, Eileen? That's funny. Oh, so pretty. I love those colors. Love, love, love those colors. Okay, I'm going to do this in the darker one, I think is what I did in the last one. The dot. This one's going way quicker than the last one did. Thank goodness. Ta-da! All right. So it's in the sink. Let's put this on here. And this stuff can get tossed in the sink as well. Look, I can't see. I should have left it on camera so you can see, but look, see, it's turned purple already. Pretty. Okay. Haha, just in time. Might run, not might. We're going to run a little bit longer than an hour this time, guys. I apologize. So this is why I was thinking about the Hangout thing or the meetup thing, is because, well, we're all like focusing. We could just chit chat instead of You guys feeling like you're not part of the group. Thank you, Michelle. There we go. All right. Get this tape off of here so we can throw it in the sink so it doesn't ruin my stencil. Throw my palette knife in there as well. I got some water going on it. Okay. So that's that one. Oh, you know what? Oh, shoot. I didn't put that little thingy in there. Why didn't somebody tell me? See, that would have been helpful in a meetup too. If somebody would say, hey, Michelle, you forgot that thing. Well, I'll put it in there after this dries. Obviously, after it dries, because I can't put it on there now when it's all wet. Dag nabbit. But now we know that the background turned out nice. Not sure I'm a fan of that, but it makes it a little bit grungy looking, I guess. All right. I don't know if we're going to be, it's going to be dry in time for me to do that or not. Might have to help it along. So I'm going to get this stuff out of the way. My brushes. Clean up some dirt. And then the next thing we're going to do is sentiment. So I'm going to use, these are Snowflake Wishes. I think they came out in the same series with that snowflake, the stencil. So these say wishing, sending, and believe. And then they have this little spot down here for a tiny little banner sentiment. So I'm going to use the Simon Says stamp inside Christmas greetings, which I've used every Christmas for the last 3 years, I think, because the sayings are just so great. So I'm going to have sending holiday blessings. So the first thing we need to do is cut out two of these, two of the sendings. Oh, here's the wishing and the believe, so that's what they look like. Then you glue your little sentiment on top. And I'm pretty sure they have a stamp set that goes, no, not them. Spellbinders has a stamp set that goes with these little banners, but when these came out, the stamp set I don't think was available yet. So, all right, I need to move these out of the way so that they don't get mucked up because I'm not paying attention. Do that in a minute. You just noticed, Melanie? I know. That's so frustrating. Think you're doing so well and go, oh, look what you did. I thought it was going faster than normal. That's not why. I'm just going to run this through real quick. There's a bee that got lost in my window. I don't know if you can hear that or not. He's looking for my rose bushes. He got lost. Poor guy. All right. One more. And the reason I'm cutting this off is because you probably noticed if you're using a die cutting machine that your plates get, they get marred up on the top plate as well. And if you use metallic papers, it will imprint on there. Again, ask me how I know. No. Pay attention to what you're doing. Move this for a second. Come out. Come off. Thank you. Okay. I still managed to get ink on my countertop, even with the splat box. I watch these ladies that do their videos on, like on YouTube or whatever, and they're, they've got their little beautiful space that they use, and they're making cars, and they're spraying stuff, and they're splatting things, and I just wonder, what does the rest of your workspace look like? Is it messy like mine? It's like, how do you do that without getting stuff everywhere? This doesn't want to peel off there very good. Of course, if you could see the rest of my studio, you would understand what I mean. It's such a mess. My goodness. Okay, let's do a little sentiment. Holiday blessings. Let's see, and I'm going to heat emboss. I'm going to use my Misty for this, even though I could just use a stamp. I'm not very good at hand stamping, so it will just be more productive if I use the tool. So I just want to make sure I have enough room for my little die there. Let's see, how do I want to do this? I'm just going to cut this in half. Put the next one in. Some little anti-static powders to keep the embossing powder from sticking where it's not supposed to. Get my Versamark, or any pigment ink will work. Make sure it made a good impression. Yep, I'm going to turn this around. Oh, that looks good. Do I ever do videos using your scraps? That would be helpful for some of us paper hoarders. I could probably, yes. I think I don't use my scraps either because I enjoy making the background so much. But you know what I do? I'm going to be doing a Christmas card with some little Christmas gnomes. Christmas gnome dies. And I will most likely be using scraps for that. But yeah, to dedicate an entire video to just doing scraps, that's a good idea. I'll have to think about that. Oh, picked off the wrong part. Good enough. Again, homemade. I have to tell myself that constantly so that I don't let the perfectionist in me just redo stuff over and over and over and over and over again. It's never going to be perfect. I'm not a machine. Besides, I found over the years, the people that get your cards are just like so amazed that you took the time to make them something that it doesn't even really matter what it looks like. They just feel special because you took time to make something. Problem is, excuse me, now being a card maker, I'm not allowed to buy a card ever. I have to make every one, so there's that. Okay, I'm going to turn on this heat gun. I'm sorry if it's loud. Making sure it gets nice and warm. The hotter the heat gun, the quicker the embossing powder melts and the less your paper warps. But I'm using 80-pound cardstock here, so it's going to warp anyway. But that's okay because we're going to glue it onto this little thing here, so it's all right. Silver on my hand is bugging me. All right, let's bring this back in. An acetate scrap usage. You have acetate scrap? Why do you have acetate scrap, Michelle? Speaking of Michelle, you owe me a tutorial or some instructions on how to make a box. Remember? Mm-hmm. I'm going to cut this off on the bottom so that it doesn't somehow mess it up, because it can. Shaker cake toppers. Cool. Then yes, a video using scrap acetate would be awesome. Didn't even know you did videos. And I would like to see a video of you making a box if you're doing videos. There's that. I think that's it. And the last element, well, other than putting the little deal on that other bulb. See if I can open that. A little bit cloudy now, so maybe I can get some more light in here. These away before something gets lost. Now the supply list for today's live will be on my blog, but I'm going to post it after we're done with this video and I upload it to YouTube, because the people that are on my blog mailing list don't necessarily follow me on Facebook, but they probably follow me on YouTube. And so if I send out a blog post saying, hey, here's the supply list for the live, they have no idea what I'm talking about. So I want to send it so that I can send it with a link to YouTube. So it would be before the end of the day if you're interested in going there and buying your goodies and giving me some props by clicking those links so that I get a tiny little percentage. That would be awesome. put plastic on there to hold it down. Oh, you're very sweet, Michelle. Thank you very much. I think you're really going to like next week's live. Well, if you like blue and ink smushing and embossing folders. I'm making 3 cards next week, but they'll go faster than this, I think. Another block. Pin my glue. All right, now we're waiting for these to dry still. As you can see, that is starting to turn a little bit yellow at the bottom. This one is purple. I might have to help these along with some heat a minute. Hopefully we can get them dry enough to build a card. Otherwise, I might just have to let this dry. If I was already in Arizona, this would be dry already. But not in Michigan, pretty humid. I also have 1, 2, 3 videos done. I'm ready to edit and post, and then I have 4 Christmas card videos that are ready to edit and post. So be on the lookout for more videos soon. I don't think we're going to get to be able to build cards out of these because that stuff is so thick. I thought for sure it would dry while we were waiting, but it's not going to. So I'm just going to finish up by showing you card bases, and then I'll just lay them on there so you can get an idea what it's going to look like. Like I said at the beginning of the video, you can always use, if you have any kind of Christmas paper, it has just like a muted background, like this one. You can do the whole thing on there as well. Don't have to get all inked up. And you also don't have to use the sparkly stuff for the snowflakes either, obviously. But it's more fun that way. I use this little tool to help me line up the edges up here so that when I fold it in half and burnish that down, it ends up being straight. And then I put tape in the middle to keep it closed while I am building the card so it doesn't flop open. Nope. So what's going to happen is that's going to get taped down with that little border. Inking is fun, I know. Now we'll fix this tomorrow once that's all dry. That's going to sit on there. And then I'm going to pop these up with a little skinny foam tape. So obviously I'm not going to stick it down because it's still wet, but it will go wet enough where my fingernail got in there. You can put this wherever you want. I just like it on the bulb. And of course, once that's stuck down, that will stand up to throw that little shadow in the background. And that will go on there like that. So pretty. See if I can hold it up so you can see it closer. So sparkly. Hopefully that doesn't stick to there. I'm taking that off there just in case it decides to stick in the stuff. In the stuff is tacky. So there we go. Kind of a non-traditional color Christmas card. I really love that. So that's the project for today. I told you I was going to give you a sneak peek for next week. There you go. There'll be 3 cards similar to that. So I'm going to turn my face back on a minute. Does anybody have any last minute questions or comments? I will go through the video comments here, and then once again on YouTube once it's uploaded to see what you had to say about the meetup, and hopefully we can get something going on that. Otherwise, thanks for hanging out with me. I only went 15 minutes over, so that's not so bad. And then I will, on the blog post, I'll have pictures of these completed ones if you care to look at them for reference. Otherwise, be sure, and if you're not already a member of the Michelle or the Lady Michelle VIP group, join that, and then that's where we share all of our makes. And if you do something with this or with a stencil that's like this or any kind of layering stencil, any card really, please share it with us. We'd love to see it. So that's it for today. And let me see if there's any questions real quick. You're very welcome, Patty. You're welcome, Melanie. Thanks, Edie. Hey, Frankie. I do too. I love the non-traditional. Okay, dokie, guys. Love all of you bunches, and we'll see you next time.